Hey everyone, this is Matt Goldsman from GamersCast, and this is the first edition of a new series that I'm starting off called Should You Buy Something? Essentially, if a new game comes out and I don't happen to get it before release, I will make a video like this while I'm still working on the review to give you a really short, really quick run-through of my initial impressions of the game and a sense of whether or not you should buy it. This is mainly for impulsive people who really want to know really quickly if they want to buy something. The series is not... It's like a review, but not really so much because it's very quick. It's quick, it's not scripted, whereas a review is very well thought out and very much scripted and takes a very long amount of time to produce, whereas this, I'm just throwing gameplay in the background that I took at relevant portions. Anyway, should you buy BioShock Infinite? I'm tempted to say yes. If you enjoyed the past two BioShock's game, you will without a doubt enjoy this one. It takes place, well, at least it starts off on the year 1911 off the coast of Maine, and then yada yada yada, you're in the fucking sky. So that happens, and the game starts off like a normal shooter. And it was almost underwhelming at first, other than the setting, which is very overwhelming. So it kind of balanced it out and kept me going. And at first it just felt like a normal shooter. And that's not a bad thing. Stay with me here, and also keep this in mind, I've only played this game for about 3.5 hours so far, so I'm a good way of the way through, but not well far enough to make a full formal review as of yet. Will I make one? That remains to be seen. But in this case, you're in the sky, and it starts off very underwhelming, in my opinion. Well, not underwhelming, but it's just a normal shooter. It's a very well put together shooter, but very normal. But as time goes on, it begins to become, slowly and gradually begins to become better and bigger and more awesome. So soon you'll get the, they're not called plasmids anymore, it's the equivalent of something else, and you essentially trip balls instead of near die when you get one of these things. But for the purpose of this review, since I can't remember what they're actually called, they're called, let's call them plasmids still, because I can't remember what they're actually called. So essentially you get these plasmids, and they act the same as your normal plasmids. So, they're powers. And you get these powers, and that's when the game starts becoming a lot more fun. It's still challenging at times, and a lot of reviewers are recommending you play this on hard mode if you're a seasoned first-person shooter enthusiast. I am not, so I'm playing full on normal. Graphically, the game is great. So see, this is why it should be scripted, because I'm topic jumping here. But essentially, the game is graphically great. The setting is freaking phenomenal. I absolutely love the aesthetic and the way they made it work. Like there's sky rails that connect all of the floating buildings together that you can jump on and ride using this like metal sort of hook thing that you have, which you also use to melee people, and is awesome. On top of that, you have clothing perks. Well, perks that are given by wearing clothing. These essentially add tiny little perks to your character. They're like passive powers that are always active in the background, or something that will affect the dice that are being rolled in the background in the game, so to speak. For example, I have one equipped right now where if you melee someone, there's a 70% chance they'll burst into flame. If I melee someone twice really quickly, they're pretty much guaranteed to burst into flame. Well, not guaranteed, but almost. And those are really cool. And like I said, this is when the game starts to take on a life of its own and become something truly unique. Is once you start getting and acquiring all these power-ups, these things. What's really cool about the game, which I like, is Elizabeth, the character who for a large portion of what I've played so far, you have to protect. Or I should say that story-wise, you have to protect her, because as far as actual gameplay goes, you actually get a message that says she can handle herself. This is great because it's not some sort of annoying sort of interference that takes you out of the game. And actually, she's quite the opposite of being annoying. She's actually quite helpful, because during battles and stuff, she'll find health packs and money and assaults scattered throughout the battlefield, so to speak, and she'll give them to you in the middle of battle, and is actually incredibly useful. Story-wise, she's starting to annoy me a bit right now, but as far as gameplay mechanics go, she's just great to have along. Overall, I don't want to make this video too long or too winded, but essentially the game right now is great. It's everything everyone basically expected it to be. I'm going to expect a pretty high score for the review. And little known thing, next week I'm actually working on a video called the top 5 games of 2013 so far. Expect this game to make an appearance on it. Yeah. Should you buy BioShock Infinite? If you can't wait for my full review, if that actually comes, I would definitely recommend this game so far. It is well worth the purchase price. Runs very well on PC. Recommended cards are GTX 560. I'm running a 560 Ti, fortunately, so I'm able to run it perfectly on ultra settings. Not quite 60 frames per second, but it usually hovers around 40. If you're playing on console, well, you're playing on console. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, that's it for me. I've been Matt Goldsman. You can check out more at GamersCast.com. I'll catch you next time.